Good morning, everybody. Welcome to my little live stream. We are way out east on Long Island on a breezy Tuesday. We're not feeling that heat wave at all. It's chilly. The winds have been coming off the ocean, which just brings a perfect natural AC right at the houses, which is absolutely beautiful. There's Doggy. He's surveying the area, making sure we're okay. Anything out there? Any dangers? Any dangers today there, Doggy? What do you see? Deer? What do you see? The cats under the house next door? Do you see the raccoon that craps on our deck? Maybe it's the possum. You see the possum? Or maybe, we only saw it once, but maybe you see a red fox out there. What do you see, Doggy? Garbage man backing up his garbage truck? Anything? Nothing? All right. John Quartz, $4.99, 5 likes, or download something. There you go. There's our mantra in the morning. Thank you, John Quartz. Cheers to you. I don't know. Is there a heat wave down there in Philly? I would assume there's a heat wave all over the damn place, right? Yes. Hi, Zach. Shut up and fish. Man, that's not a bad idea, Zach. Zach Solomon. That's not a bad idea. That's a shirt that needs to be made. Shut up and fish. We've been fishing. The fishing hasn't been that great. The fishing hasn't been that great off this shoreline in a few summers now. Just catching a lot of junk. I caught a sand shark. They're not really sharks. They're dogfish that look like mini sharks. Caught a few of those, and then I caught a few of those ugly spider crabs, and that's it, man. The fishing has been on the light side. Hi, Lewis. Good morning to you. Winnie Morse, good. I'm morning Ope. Oh, my God. Someone needs coffee. Winnie Morse writes, good, I'm morning Opie. Wait, you're morning me? Oh, it's the other morning, as in good morning. Okay. All right, Winnie, get it together. Get it together. It's only a Tuesday. Come on, let's do this. Hi, Doggy. I like that you make these podcasts so I get to hear them. Oh, thank you, Steven. Yeah, if you don't know, the live streams are now available on my podcast feed, Opie Radio. So you can listen in the car. You can listen to something in the car. Because a lot of radio guys, they take the summer off, those lazy bastards. So I figured it's easy to do like a 45-minute live stream every morning and throw it on my podcast feed, Opie Radio, and then you got something to listen to. Yeah, right on, man. All right, Winnie's back with the, properly written, good morning, Opie. Good morning. She goes, I'm trying. I know, this is early, man. Yeah, it's weird. When I turn on the live stream, these are the first words I utter. I wake up, I throw some water on my face, I throw a hat on because I don't feel like showering first thing in the morning, and then I'm on camera babbling. I'm like, you're not even awake yourself. Hey, you Opakins. Hiya, Gina Bobina, what's going on? How are you, Gina? Hope everyone's gonna have a good day. I don't even know what's going on in the world because what was I watching? Oh, I was watching some old Vice documentary on the dark side of comedy. The dark side of comedy. They had one on the Chris Farley. They had one on the Andrew Dice Clay. Nora Dunn took down the Andrew Dice Clay back in the day. Dice was on top of the world. People don't realize how big Andrew Dice Clay was as a comedian. And then he was moving into pictures. He signed a 3-picture deal in Hollywood. And then he was going to host SNL. And Nora Dunn. I don't know if a comedian should ever be boycotting another comedian. I don't know. That just seemed weird. She was sticking up for women and I don't know. I guess the gays. And when SNL said we're going to have Andrew Dice Clay hosting, and you know that was par for the course with SNL. They always got the people that were the most popular in society, and at the time Andrew Dice Clay was massively huge, selling out arenas. Just signed a motion picture deal. So Lauren Michaels is like, we got to have him on SNL. And then this Nora Dunn, who some labeled as a bitch, she goes, I am not going to be on the same stage as Andrew Dice Clay. I'm not even going to be in the same building. And then Sinead O'Connor did the same thing, where they both boycotted. And then that started the ball rolling. And, when they decide to crush you and take your career, it's pretty easy for them to do. Case in point, right in front of you. When they're done with you and they want to ruin you, they got all the power. So Nora Dunn boycotts Andrew Dice Clay. Sinead O'Connor boycotts Andrew Dice Clay. And next thing you know, the ball was rolling. And then the gay community went after Hollywood and went after anybody that was doing business with Andrew Dice Clay. And in a mere, year, he went from being on top of the world to barely selling out small comedy clubs. Oh, my God. And then years later, what's his name? What's his name from SNL? John something. He was at a Comic-Con talking about the boycott of Andrew Dice Clay back in the day, and he openly called Nora Dunn a bitch and said she was always a bitch on the show and no one liked her to begin with. But Dark Side of Comedy on Vice, really, really good. I like it a lot. And then Andrew Dice Clay, he comes back a little bit, and then he finally gets to start acting in some TV shows and movies. And he's still out there. He's out there on the streets making his Instagram videos these days. No one recognizes him in his videos. I think you need to have your mercury fillings removed. What are you doing, Doug? Is that the conspiracy today? How do you know I have mercury fillings, you weirdo? I told you, man. There was I grew up very, very poor on Long Island, and we didn't go to the dentist even. We went every once in a while, willy-nilly. So when we finally went, me and my brothers and sisters, our mouths are just filled with cavities. And the one thing I did when I made a few bucks, I got all my fillings removed. Doug. And I think that would have been the mercury fillings. I had them all removed because I didn't like all the silver in my mouth, and now I got white cavities, so it looks like I don't even have one. It's one of the best things I ever did. Because I used to smile. I used to not talk with my mouth open because I was embarrassed of all the silver in my mouth. If you need to know, Doug. Good God. Good morning. Good morning to you. What's up, Paul? Giving me a little something, $1.99. Thank you very much, Paul. Greatly appreciate you. So yeah, Dark Side of Comedy on Vice is really good. And then the Chris Farley one was just sad. Just sad. And they had footage of him coming back to SNL hosting when he was a complete mess. And you can't believe you were looking at a guy that was only 33. He looked like he was pushing 50 at the time, and no one could save the guy. He just wanted to follow John Belushi's career path, even the dying young part. What an incredible talent, and he just couldn't figure it out. And then I rolled into the Roseanne Barr one. That one was fantastic, unbelievable. She had quite the career as well. And then they yanked her for some crazy ass racist stuff. They yanked her from her show for the second time. And then everyone thought that would be the end of Roseanne, but no, she found a brand new following with the MAGA crowd, and she's doing just fine. She went from she kind of went from a lefty all the way to the right in I don't know, in a mere 20-something years. So that one was good, and then I ended with the Artie Lange one, which my God, Artie, are you out there? Has anyone seen Artie Lange? But the Artie Lange one on Vice, Dark Side of Comedy was really, really good. He never got over the death of his father, who was paralyzed, falling off a ladder. Artie was supposed to be there that day, but he was at school. He was his apprentice, so he feels like he should have been there to hold the ladder. And there was an accident, and Artie's father became a quadriplegic. And then what's really, really creepy, my friend Tim Sabian's on this one. What is gay blue glasses. Sorry, it's just our thing. When we do our Tuesdays at Get Parts, we just yell. But Tim's on there. And I guess Artie Lange gave Tim a tour of his condo in Hoboken. This was after the Howard Stern years. And on Artie's wall, I don't know if you'd know this, but he framed a piece of cable. And Tim goes, "What the hell is that, Artie? What is that?" And he said that that's the last piece of cable his dad installed before he had his accident. So Artie never got over it. I mean, he another incredible talent with the Damons. I think if you have the talent, you got the demons too, in general. I really believe that. Because it's really stupid for any of us. Yes, I'm including myself because I used to be somebody. It's really just stupid to put yourself out there like this. It's really just dumb and insane. And I think if you're in front of the public eye, whether you do a radio show, you're an actor, you're a singer, you're a TV star, I don't know, you're looking for some kind of approval for whatever reason. And I just hope Artie's doing all right. You know, they had the update on the Vice documentary, but that documentary is a couple years old, saying he's doing well and all, but no one has heard from Artie Lange. He's deep undercover, and I just hope Artie's doing well, because he's a really really good guy and really talented. I was lucky to have him on the radio shows after Howard kicked him to the curb. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. A lot of people hold it against Howard for kicking Artie to the curb, but it seems like that was a tough one. It seems like they gave Artie every single chance possible, and I think Artie even admitted a few times that he just blew it. And then Artie literally Howard completely cut ties with Artie Lange. I mean, completely. And then at that point, these guys started knocking on our door. It was they started knocking on the Opie and Anthony door, and then they started knocking on my door when I was doing kind of more of a solo thing. And I'm like, God, this guy's way too. Yes, come on in. And I could tell he had some issues. You know, we could tell he had some issues, but he was also very open and honest on my show, and he basically saying, yeah, I relapsed recently and this and that, but he would just crush. He had a very kind spirit. He seemed to be a really nice, genuine guy that was really into his mother and his sister. And man, I just hope Artie's doing all right. I didn't feel good after watching the Dark Side of Comedy when they did the Artie Lange one. It was just so goddamn depressing. Because near the end of the documentary, they show Artie in court with that horrendous nose. Like he's constantly pushing his face up against a window. Oh my God, addiction stinks. Tim Kaine from Buffalo here. Kudos to Florida Panthers Stanley Cup champs. You know what? Medical legal connection? Hell yeah. I wanted the Panthers over Edmonton. I didn't want the cup going back to Edmonton. So congratulations to the Florida Panthers. I barely watched the Stanley Cup, but I watched the end just to see the hoisting. There's nothing better in sports than the hoisting of the cup and taking a few loops around the ice. I got pictures with that cup, and I don't know where they are. No, I got pictures. I should back up. So they brought the Stanley Cup in when the Opie and Anthony show was on K-Rock, when we were splitting our time between K-Rock and XM, and they brought the Stanley Cup in. We all got pictures that day. It was awesome. They put it on display. It was all shiny. There's a guy that travels with the cup. He has white gloves on, and he's dressed perfectly, and he watches that cup like a hawk. They bring it around as the playoffs are going on. But I want the pictures from when I was very, very young, when the Islanders won the Stanley Cup. And Clark Gillies, who was a member of the Huntington Crescent Club where I caddied at, he brought the cup up there for the day. Because I guess every player gets the cup for a day. they pass it around. And then, the stories about this cup are just legendary. Drinking out of the cup, eating out of the cup. Supposedly, it ended up at the bottom of a pool. Then there was a video online recently. I don't remember what team, but they were in an alleyway because they were all out partying after they won the Stanley Cup. And they're all on the ground doing bench presses with the Stanley Cup. So Clark Gillies, back in the day, he brought it to the Huntington Crescent Club, and we all got pictures with the cup. But it was the days with this, and then you had to get your pictures developed. And I simply don't know where those pictures are. They're in a box somewhere. But we sold our family home many, many years ago, and we left a whole bunch of crap in the attic. So somebody's got a picture of me as a very young kid with the Stanley Cup. Oh, my God. But what you notice when you see the Stanley Cup up close is that it's very scratched up. There's a lot of dents. There's a lot of problems with the Stanley Cup. But it's pretty damn cool when they hoist that thing and do some circles around the ice. He sold out the Olive Garden. Oh! Man, I just forgot how big Andrew Dice Clay was. And then his fall was... Man, I thought I had a fall. A fall from grace. But his fall was... They have footage of him selling out Madison Square Garden in the early 90s. And then fast forward at the end of this documentary, they're like, he had a tough time selling out small clubs. Just crazy. Which are the best videos ever? Dice, which are the best videos ever? Dice Rules. What's up, Vincent Scaramuzzo? I'm not really sure what you're trying to say there, but, all right. Didn't he steal a sweatshirt once? Steve Daly? Yes, he did. Yes, yes, he did. I'm not, look, man, you fast forward and then Opie and Anthony, we're doing a pretty huge radio show in New York at WNEW, and credit to Club Soda Kenny. This is how Club Soda Kenny made it into the Opie and Anthony world. He was listening to our show, and he heard Anthony doing the Dice impression, and he thought the Dice impression was absolutely spot on and funny and all that, so he told Dice. And Dice is like, let me hear this. And, he heard a few tapes of our show, and next thing you know, like, he became a massive regular on our show, and I'm not going to lie, I couldn't believe it. Being a kid getting into comedy and, knowing Dice's career. Next thing you know, he's sitting there and he's like your pal. And we hung out a lot. Because after the show, like, Dice is another one of those guys. They say it's a character and all that. Because he's a Jewish kid from Brooklyn and he plays this Italian tough guy thing. But I don't know, man. When the mics were off with Andrew Dice Clay, when he used to do our show back in the day, we would hit the streets of New York, and he would just continue. He was pretty much the same guy on mic and off mic, slightly quieter maybe, but we had so much fun messing with people on the streets of New York. My God! And he took Anthony and I shopping, and we at the time, before we got jaded by, I guess, our fame, we're like, holy crap, we're hanging out with Dice and we're shopping with him. We go into a shop, and he wanted to buy us all sweatshirts. And every time you went shopping with Dice, he would haggle. He would haggle with the people. He was not gonna pay the sticker price ever. So he would haggle like, hey kid, why don't you throw in some socks? Can you at least throw in some socks? I know I don't do the dice. I know, I get it. But it was always something, hey, how about a couple coasters? And one time he just walked out with sweatshirts. That's true. Sometimes he would walk out right in front of the people, like, don't tell anybody. He would go, just don't tell anybody. It's not your problem. It's their problem. They don't pay enough. Don't tell anybody. And he would just walk out. That absolutely happened. And then one time he desperately wanted to buy me and Anthony sweatshirts. But here's the rub. We couldn't pick out our own sweatshirts. They had to be black. They had to be hoodies, and they had to be triple XLs. And I haven't seen Anthony in 10 years, but I would assume he's still not petite, but on the smaller side like me, probably pushing a large shirt maybe. I'm kind of in between a medium and large all the time myself. And Dice is like, I want to buy you guys sweatshirts, hoodies, but they got to be black and they got to be XXL. So I'm like, Dice, I will never wear this. But he insisted. And then he insisted that me and Anthony put on the giant hoodies when we walked down the store. So we looked like complete idiots. I remember wearing the hoodie that day after he bought them for us, and then never again. Because I looked like a, I looked ridiculous. I think you can still say that on social media. I want to use the other R word, but people get offended when you use that R word. You can't use that word. Oh, Dark Side of Shock Jocks, very good. Representing you and others well. Oh, Jess Mason, what's the Dark Side of Shock Jocks? Are you talking about the Howard Stern versus Opie and Anthony thing that Vice did? Yeah, that was pretty cool. They didn't get the whole story, but it was pretty fun. Pretty fun to see someone else's interpretation of your radio career. That was pretty interesting. Good morning, Sarah. How are you? We got Barrister 1401. He comes in strong with a $5 donation. Morning, oh, my hiney itches. Oh, do you have the, oh my God, your hiney itches, do you have the, well, are you doing things back there that you shouldn't be doing? Oh my God. Barrister, get that checked out, all right? Trump 2024. All right, well, good luck to you on that, Casey. Good luck to you on that. When's the debate? Is it tonight or is it tomorrow? I think the debate's tomorrow, right? The Biden-Trump debate. They're propping up the Biden, right? They're making sure he has a lot of rest. Trump 2024. Oh, my. You know what, Casey? Good luck. Good luck. Good luck. I just... let me get Casey off the screen before I say what I'm about to say. I think focusing on politics as much as some people do is literally a mental illness at this point. I think it's a mental illness. I really do. I was in like everybody else. Now when I see a cable news channel on in my house, I immediately yell, "Ah!" and grab the remote, and I watch anything else. I'm done. I don't care if Trump's president. I don't care if Biden's president. But democracy is on the ballot. Is it? Is it? Oh, but I just can't do it anymore. What approval were you looking for? With me, I think I like being creative. I do have an artistic brain in general. I said that to Bill O'Reilly and he laughed at me. You know, let's be honest with each other. But I did say on TV in front of Bill O'Reilly that we were artists because I really did feel like we were artists, and our canvas was the air, man. They just give you this space, man. What are you gonna fill it up with? So I really did look at putting a radio show together like being an artist. You got an empty canvas. What are you going to do with it? What are you going to do with it? Because when you walked in that studio, there was nothing, literal nothingness. And then you turned on the mics and like a painting, you painted the picture. And you developed this thing that hopefully people enjoyed in their cars. And they did for a very, very long time. And I really did look at it like an artist looks at an empty canvas. And I try to tell that to Bill O'Reilly, but all he wanted to talk about was sex, that creep. You guys talk about sex a lot. Well, Bill, it seems like you like your sex too, huh, buddy? Huh, buddy? So, as far as approval goes, I think growing up in a crazy household with a crazy mom that got a lot of attention, a lot, and having 7, 8, 9 kids, I think I don't think we got the proper individual attention. So I think wanting to be creative in general, wanting to have a voice. I don't know if we had voices growing up as much. So when this shit was bothering us in our house. We didn't really have an outlet. And then somehow when I discovered radio, I was like, oh my God, an outlet to get my crap out. A voice. I'll be heard. And then I guess that leads to a bit of approval as well. Sure. Thank you for the question, Sarah. Pick a prize from the prize closet. Not anything on the top shelf. Okay? Rob Reiner says he will set himself on fire if Trump wins. I'm always down for a barbecue. All right, now I want Trump to win. See how easy it is to sway me? Rob Reiner. These, I'll say this much. These hardcore celebrities in Hollywood that are obsessed with hating Trump just makes me giggle. He's an old guy. He's got to be pushing, I would say Rob Reiner's got to be pushing 80. It's like, at this point, why do you care? Just enjoy the rest of your stupid life. Just enjoy the rest of your stupid life. But he's going to set himself on fire? Oh, my God. Now we need Trump to win, right? Hell yeah. I might have to register to vote. And vote for the first time. Yeah, they're just full of dumb air, hot air. Should I go out here? But I can't see if I'm going to just stay in the shadows. In the shadows. Fleetwood Mac, right? But I don't know the lyric. In the shadows. Yeah, these celebrities that say they're going to leave the country, they're going to set themselves on fire, they're going to do this. It never happens, unfortunately. Gina Bobina, rest in peace, Artie. I don't think Artie's. I think Artie's still with us, but I don't think he's wants to be in the public eye. Is what I'm getting at, or what I'm thinking. Hi, Doggy. Yeah, Doggy's running around the deck today. Howard could have stayed in touch with Artie, though. Seems cold to just cast the guy out forever. Well, Howard's a jerk. When he's done with you, he's done with you. And these people make him millions upon millions of dollars. I get it. You're not supposed to, keep in touch with everybody. But Artie was a massive part of that radio show for, I think, 11 years. And, there was a part in the Vice documentary where Artie basically confronted Howard because Howard was, having some guilt. And Artie famously said, this is what you want, Howard. This is what you want. Because there was a time Howard was getting frustrated by Artie's shenanigans, but it was making for great radio. And then they had some kind of incident. And Artie famously goes to Howard, this is exactly what you want. Artie's a very smart man. Because this is what you want. And then Howard was trying to downplay and say, no, it's not. And I think Artie was right at that point. Look, I could speak for the Opie and Anthony show. There was stuff that happened in front of us. You're like, I would tell myself sometimes, I would be like, okay, this is entertainment. This isn't real life. That's how I got through some of the shows on Opie and Anthony. Okay, this is entertainment. This isn't real life. I'm trying to entertain. And then, some of these people that would come in and it would be downright depressing. You would try to talk to them and stuff after the fact and, make sure they're all right. But it's a tough one. But Artie was absolutely right. This is exactly what you wanted, Howard. When things were off the rails on the Opie and Anthony show, it's exactly, we knew. Even if it was me personally in the barrel, if I was fighting, had an all-out fight with somebody on the air, whether it was Anthony or somebody else, it was incredibly uncomfortable, and I didn't want to be in that space. But then a part of my brain is like, oh God, our fan base is eating this up right now. But it's very, very uncomfortable and tough to get through sometimes. Barrister 1401, not to bring up sore subject, but Artie, Cumia, Norton, roasting Joe Matarese is perhaps the funniest video on YouTube. Worth to watch. All right. I don't know. I don't know why that's a sore subject. You're just bringing up a time those guys roasted another comedian. So, all right, Barrister. Not going to complain. You just gave me a fiver. A fiver. I like this Barrister. John Courts, my buddy's son is the equipment manager for the Panthers. His first year, and they win the cup, and he gets a ring. That is very cool. Although I don't think this is not right. I think only the players should get rings. You know, maybe like maybe the behind the scenes people, they could get like I don't know, like a t-shirt and some sliders. I think I always thought that was weird when they hand out like the rings in the NBA or Stanley Cup. They give it to like they give it to the secretary. It's like, really? Is your nose still on your face? Because my nose is gone from playing this sport, and you're getting a ring too. Doesn't seem fair. Or maybe they give them a lesser version of the ring, which like in the NBA has gotten to the point where it's like a hula hoop. There was a time you won the NBA championship, you had a cute little ring, you could wear it out to dinner. Look, I won the championship back in 1988. And now they have to bring their NBA championship ring around like it's a hubcap with a giant chain. These things have gotten ridiculous. They can't even wear them anymore. Clark Gillies, one of my faves. Oh, God, Sarah. I caddied for him many, many times over the years. That guy was a solid dude. He was an enforcer on the Islanders when they used to allow fighting. Now they have cute fighting. Where, okay, we have one guy on my team that fights. You got one guy on your team that fights. Let's let him fight a little bit. I hate they took the fighting out of hockey in general. But Clark Gillies up close had so many scars on his face from all the years of fighting. He was a monster of a human, too. He was like 6. I think he was at least 6'6", and he would hit the golf ball. His handicap was like a 7, around there. His number was number 9, I believe, and his handicap was lower than his number. And so if his handicap was a 7, for the people out there, he was shooting in the high 70s all the time. That's incredible as far as playing golf. But the problem with caddying for Clark Gillies, he would hit the ball so high and so far, so much further than anyone else, and it was a completely out of control, Happy Gilmore type of fucking drive. You didn't know where it went. And, you know, when you got the bag to caddy for Clark Gillies, you were excited because he was a celebrity. He was an Islander. You were really into it. But trying to find his ball was just a nightmare. But he was cool. He knew. He would be like, caddy, where's the ball? I'm like, oh, it's over here, Mr. Gillies. Actually, he wanted us to call him Clark. It's over here. He goes, no, I hit it to the left, because you would have to guess. Sometimes you would walk down the fairway. This is too inside. This is caddying inside garbage. Sometimes you wouldn't see the drives. There was something called four caddying. So what that meant was, as the guys went on the tee box to hit their drives, you would go down the fairway a good 200 yards to get a head start on where the drive would possibly go. But some of these guys would just crush it, and you had no idea where it went. Sometimes you were with another caddy, and they're like, I didn't see that either. And you're like, shit. So then you would do this thing where you'd walk really slow in the fairway, making believe you knew exactly where the ball was. You know you're going to have to go either left or right because you know it's not on the fairway. And also you would take a peek behind you like this to see what direction the golfer was starting to go in. He's like, oh, okay, he's going way right. So then you would go way right like you saw the drive the whole time. But Gillies was just a monster on the course and such a great guy. And then after the fact, he remembered me all those years later. He remembered me because he lived in the same area as me, Huntington. And I would see him in the bars and stuff, and he remembered me as his caddy. And then I went to the Stanley Cup championship down in Florida many years ago. I got an invite from a guy that was way up in the Islanders organization. He invited me down. It was 2002 when we were off the air, or 2003 maybe, whatever. Went down to Florida, and I got to do all the Stanley Cup festivities and parties and stuff, and I hung out with Clark Gillies drinking, and he's like, I can't believe... He was freaked out, because at that point he knew me as Opie from Opie and Anthony. He's like, I just know you as that skinny fucking caddy from back in the day, and now, fast forward, you're the same guy. He was out of his mind about it. And then he also was a regular at my brother's restaurant, F.H. Riley, so, you know, rest in peace to Clark Gillies. That guy was... just an awesome human being. Loved the guy. What's your opinion, Anthony firing E-Rock? I don't know anything about Anthony and his business. Literally, I have no idea. And if that's true, I literally have no opinion on that. Misery loves clips. What's up, Gail? Good morning to you. Good morning, Tim. Debate is on Thursday. Okay, the Trump-Biden debate. I'll be watching because I'm hoping it's going to be a train wreck. But these idiots that, monitor the debate. This is what I hate about these debates. I don't care. I hated this about debates 20 years ago, way before the Trump years. Where all of a sudden the candidates are really getting into it, like crazy getting into it, and just trashing their opponent. And then the moderator's like, okay, can we go back to climate change? I'm like, oh, God, F your climate change. He's ready to strangle him. Let it go. Let it go. You a big Trump fan, I hear. Full mega. Yeah, okay. I was an early supporter of the Trump because I was really excited that he was mixing up everything in Washington because I don't believe any of those idiots down there. And then, I don't know, and then somewhere along the way, I just got tired of hearing about Trump in my life day after day. The lighting has improved on this show. Money well spent. Oh, I just switched out the cameras. Finally switched out the cameras. I'm finally going with a GoPro. I got advice over the years like this camera and that camera, and I just because I have a unique spot with a lot of sun behind me with that ocean here, and then in New York City it's just ridiculously bright behind me as I try to do this from a windowsill. The cameras just weren't doing the job, and I think the GoPro is the way to go. I should have thought about this years ago. All right, I want to start wrapping up. Because I didn't have anything. I just made all that up because I turned this live stream on and went, oh my God, I have nothing to talk about today. Oh God, what am I going to do? But, all right, Reiner is 77. He might set himself on fire if Trump is elected. Why? Oh, now I got to vote for Trump. But if you vote for Trump, yeah, but if he wins, Reiner is going to set himself on fire. That's what I think of politics, by the way. It's got to be some dumb, stupid thing, and then you can get my support. So now I think I want Trump to win. Will it be a pay-per-view? How is he going to do it? How is Reiner going to set himself on fire? I love these Hollywood guys. That the funny thing is with the Barbra Streisand, the Rob Reiner. There's a few others out there, right? Man, a migrant could be president of the United States. Well, I guess he can because you got to be born here. So that's a terrible example. A landscaper. Let's go with a landscaper. Nothing wrong with the landscaping business. They're certainly making more money than me. So don't take it personally. A landscaper that doesn't know what the fuck he's doing could be president of the United States, and it's not going to affect Rob Reiner or Barbra Streisand. So why do they waste so much energy on this stuff? Do they really care about the little people like me and you? Oh, my God. Pro caddy tip. Carry another ball and drop where it could be his ball. Oh, my God. Well, we've done that. Because when you're caddying, some of these members, if you lose their ball or something, they first of all give you a terrible tip. Basically no tip. So you're making no real money. And then they complain to the caddy master that this caddy's not that good. He lost my ball. And then you drop down in the caddy ratings, which is even more important, which means you get less loops. So if you have a bad outing where you can't find a couple balls and the guy is a dick, you're in trouble. You're going to lose a lot of money. Because next thing you know, the caddy master is going to, hold you back and you're going to get some shitty loop at the end of the day. Oh, man, I could talk about this caddying stuff. I should write a book on caddying. It was just beyond fascinating. But, yeah, we would carry an extra ball. There were times you're like, all right, what ball is he hitting? Okay. And you would dig through his bag when you were far away from the golfer early on in the round. And every once in a while, you would, especially if you knew the guy was a dick, You make sure you had that ball just in case. And then you would see them. I'll leave you with this. We had a member that cheated so bad. Everyone knew he cheated so bad that if I was caddying for this guy that cheated so bad, the other guy that had another caddy, I got up to the ranks in caddying where a lot of days I only had to carry one bag at the end of my my run as a caddy. Because, I will brag, I was one of the top caddies at the Huntington Crescent Club, so they held us back for the really important matches. These guys would go on the course and play for insane money, few $1,000s per 9 holes, the front 9, the back 9, and the overall. So sometimes these guys were either going to lose a few thousand or win a few thousand, so the caddy was really important, and I was one of those guys they held back for a lot of those matches. And the golfer knew that, and he knew they had to really pay us very, very well. So when I would caddy for this one particular guy, I would love to say his name. I remember his name, and he was really known for cheating. The other guy that was playing against him would give me money to start the round to say, make sure he doesn't cheat. This is the stuff that went on. But I was with that guy once when it was a who gives a crap round, and you would see him walking way off the fairway to find his ball, and if it's under a tree, that sucks. But if all of a sudden he miraculously finds his ball in between two trees and it has a clear shot at the green, that's some pure luck. So you would see the guy heading off the fairway. And you would watch him do the whole process. He has to try to get a ball out of his pocket without the other golfers knowing. And then he would transfer the ball to his long sleeve shirt. In the middle of summer, he wore long sleeve shirts like I'm wearing today. So he would get the ball in the long sleeve like this, so he could drop it as he's trying to find his original ball. And he would look at me like, "Ah, you saw that." And I would give him a look like, "Yeah, I saw that." Yeah, that's exactly what I would do. I would just stop talking and nod my head and go, "Yeah, I saw that." Meaning, you're going to give me a little extra at the end of the round, right? Right? This will be between me and you, but right? And there was an understanding. There was an understanding at the end of the round that, and all of a sudden, like, I would get an extra 10 or whatever it would be, and the other caddies would be like, "What the fuck did you do? You didn't do shit for that guy." I'm like, you have no idea. You have no idea what these eyes see. Why are those chairs turned that way behind you? KC. That's so the dog doesn't get out. The dog, if he sees another dog on that beach, he's going. So, it's almost like our own, it's like a baby gate for dogs. All right, let's go. I'm out of here. No, Opster, the landscaper's likely an immigrant too. Just stating the odds. I know a lot of landscapers that aren't immigrants there, Casey. That's funny, though. And then Casey comes back with this. Can you imagine how long that pile of blubber would smolder? Let's end with that.